Dear Nixie, I am both excited and a little worried. I'm sure you remember Mrs. Danforth, her spooky Victorian mansion, and the wonderful treats she always hands out at Halloween. For the last year, Mrs. Danforth has been away helping her cousin Isabella recover from surgery. She has now returned to her family home, the Dyer Mansion, just in time for Halloween. I have volunteered to go and help her straighten things up and evict any spiders and other creepy crawlies that might have taken up residence in her absence. I am a bit concerned about Mrs. Danforth as she sounds a little discouraged, but it could just be that she's still recovering a bit herself from taking care of her cousin. Of course, there have always been the rumors that the Dyer Mansion may be haunted. So this will give me a chance to do a little investigating and see if there is any truth to the old rumors, or maybe find out that they are just that, old rumors. I should arrive at the Dyer Mansion tomorrow evening, and I can't imagine a more exciting way to spend Halloween. I'll write more as soon as I have time. Love, Jane. Is that someone digging?
Is that you, Jane?
Yes, I just arrived.
Come on in and get out of the rain. I'll be waiting for you in the kitchen.
Hello?
I'm in the kitchen. Come back and get warm. Good evening, Jane.
How are you doing this evening, Mrs. Danforth?
Very well, thank you. How was your trip?
It was quite pleasant, and I love that we have a storm tonight, as it seems so fitting with Halloween just around the corner.
Yes, I've always had a fondness for thunderstorms myself.
When I came up just now, I thought I saw what looked like a Grim Reaper in the garden.
I thought I saw something too. It was probably just someone getting a head start on Halloween.
I noticed that you have quite a number of boxes around the house.
Yes, I'm seriously considering boxing up all my personal treasures and having an estate sale. It seems I've collected so many things, and it feels like it's time for me to give up our family home and move into an apartment which will make my life simpler.
I can't imagine your beautiful home without you in it, especially at the holidays.
Yes, it is a big step, but for me to remain here, I should probably have some help with the house and the grounds, both of which are an expense I'm not certain I can manage.
I can certainly understand your concerns, but I can't help wishing that things could work out where you would be comfortable in your family home.
Yes, that would also be my first choice, but I have to be realistic. Perhaps if my husband were still alive, or we had had children, there might be more choices.
Well, we definitely need to make the most of this Halloween so that it will be one we can treasure. I see you have been making some lists and have been getting treats ready. What can I do to help?
I have a list of things to put in a box marked extra special. Or you could make some caramel apples, or if you would rather, you could start dusting. It seems everything has become quite covered in dust while I was away.
I always loved your caramel apples at Halloween. I would love to have a chance to make those.
The apples are on the counter, and I have the caramel in a pot on the stove. Just remember to be careful, as the caramel can get very hot.
That's 1. There's 2, 3. Now 4 apples, halfway there. Up to 5, 6, 7, just 1 more. 8, all done.
Hello, Jane.
Mrs. Danforth, I've got the caramel apples ready.
Those caramel apples look great. I'll put these away until the trick-or-treaters arrive.
Let me take your list and start packing that box for you.
That sounds great. Here's the list. I'm so glad you could come. It makes this task much less daunting. Hello, Jane.
I have the box all packed.
That is great. Would you like to do something else?
I think I would like to tackle the dusting to get it out of the way.
That would be such a help. Could you start with the desk in the living room? Here is a dusting cloth. Make sure not to overtire yourself.
This is going to look like new when it's dusted. A secret compartment? A key? I thought that painting was different.
Hello, Jane.
When I was dusting the old desk in the living room, I made a remarkable discovery. My dust rag caught on a small lever which opened a hidden compartment. In the compartment was this unusual key.
I never knew the desk had a hidden compartment. However, the key looks vaguely familiar, but I can't place it. I'll definitely think about it and see if anything comes to mind.
It would be fascinating to discover what this key opened. Perhaps it's even a key to a hidden treasure.
I doubt that, but it is a wonderful hope. I'm so glad you're here to help. We've accomplished quite a lot this evening.
Yes, and it has been a lot of fun, too. Especially finding the hidden drawer and the mysterious key.
Yes, I hope some memory about the key comes back to me. Well, I guess we should be going to bed now. We will have a lot to do tomorrow. Your room is the first door at the top of the stairs. I already put your luggage in the room for you.
Thank you so much. I'll see you in the morning.
Good night, Jane.
What was that? I didn't think Mrs. Danforth had any pets. Great Caesar's ghost! A ghost kitty! Are those paw prints on the stairs? Okay, I'm going to follow those prints before they disappear. It almost seems as though the ghost kitty is trying to lead me somewhere. What is this? There must be something inside. I wonder what this is. I'd better get to bed. I can look at it more in the morning. Another beautiful day in the neighborhood. Where did I put my sweater? What's that sound?
Stole my boyfriend, and now you think you are going to wear this priceless diamond necklace to your wedding?
I did not steal your boyfriend. And besides, Father has said I can wear the necklace.
I can't stop your wedding, but you will never wear the necklace.
I have to tell Mrs. Danforth about this, but I don't want to frighten her. After all, I'm not even sure what that was. It's locked. I think I'll take a quick look and see if I can open this box. I'm not sure I could ever guess the right combination to open this box. Perhaps I'll find some clue to opening this box while helping to get the house ready. Well, I'd better get back to dusting. Good morning, Mrs. Danforth. Did anyone just come in here?
Morning, Jane. No, I've just been in here working by myself.
I was just wondering, have you ever had a cat that was very special to you?
Not really, but my sister did. The kitty would always run upstairs and be waiting for her when she came to bed. His name was Kit. Sometimes, I know it's silly, but I imagine I still see Kit about the house.
Oh, I don't think that's silly at all. I thought I remembered that you had a sister.
Yes, but she died long ago.
Were you and your sister very close?
Yes, we were when we were young, but then we had an argument and she died soon afterwards.
Would you mind telling me something about that?
Well, it was so long ago, and yet in many ways, it's just like yesterday. We quarreled on the day of my wedding, and then she eloped with our gardener. However, this brought all of us only sadness, as they were killed in a tragic accident.
Do you remember what the quarrel was about?
Yes, it was really more of a misunderstanding than anything. She was convinced that I had stolen her boyfriend, but it wasn't anything like that.
I found a charming peacock box just before going to bed last night, and was wondering if you could tell me something about it.
Yes, I remember that box. It was a favorite of my sister's.
Is there some trick to opening the box?
Yes, but only my sister knew it. If you could get it open, it would be quite interesting to see what was inside. Probably something put in there when we were young girls.
I'll let you get back to your work.
Hello, Jane.
I'll let you get back to your work. What's this? This looks like a combination. Time reflects near Hallows Eve to reveal what I must leave. Fish and fowl, sand and water, find the treasure of this daughter.
Hello, Jane.
Mrs. Danforth, I have the box open.
My, what was in it?
It seems you were correct. It only had a couple of mirrors and this short poem.
Could I see those? This is definitely my sister's handwriting. She was always creating poetic riddles. I'm not sure what this one could mean.
I wonder if the riddle is related to the mirrors.
That's a great idea. It would be just like her to do that. With that storm last night, it seems the garden is covered in leaves. Would you mind doing some raking this morning?
Not at all. I was just thinking it was a wonderful morning to be out in the garden. I'll let you get back to your work.
Hello, Jane.
Mrs. Danforth, I found this journal in a secret compartment in the sundial. I think it is your sister's.
Yes, it is. I remember that.
Did your family once have a diamond necklace?
Yes, it was very valuable. In fact, my sister and I quarreled about the necklace on my wedding day.
Do you know where the necklace is now?
No, it disappeared at the time of my sister's elopement. However, if it could be found, it would solve so many money issues for me.
I think we might just be able to discover what happened to your necklace. And I think it may be related to what has been happening in the garden. In fact, I'm going back to check the garden now. What was that? Hey, what are you doing? Interesting.
Hello, Jane.
I just saw our Grim Reaper in the garden again. This time he had a shovel and was digging.
I can't imagine why he would be digging in the garden. What can he possibly want?
When I yelled, "What are you doing?" he gave me an awful look and ran away.
We always have a few pranks at Halloween, so we probably don't need to be too concerned.
You're right, it is Halloween. But still,
Well, it is getting late. I suppose we should get to bed soon. We have a big day tomorrow, and lots to do for Halloween.
okay, see you in the morning. What was that? Where is the light switch? Ah, that's better. That's my favorite shirt. I'm glad I brought that. I may need it later. It's locked. What's that noise? Did I just dream that? It sounds like it's coming from downstairs. I'd better check that out.
Jane, I need you. Come down. Jane, I've fallen and I can't get up.
I can't feel the step.
Jane, come down, I need you.
I'll be right down, Mrs. Danforth. Ooh, ah! Who's down there? That sounded like an intruder, or worse. I'd better get my flashlight. The Shadow Blaster 3000, guaranteed to blast any shadow within 1,000 feet. Where's that light switch? That's better. I'd better go down and check the doors. It's locked. I know Mrs. Danforth needs her sleep. I'd better not wake her. I should get back to bed myself. Tomorrow is Halloween and it's going to be busy. These are great Halloween costumes. Being a ghost seems so appropriate this Halloween. Looking good. Being a witch always brings out the best in me. Looking good. I always look so beautiful as a princess. Looking good. I wonder what Kid is trying to tell me. Oh, this must have been Cassandra's music. Let me try playing this. He looks so handsome. I wonder who he was. That's odd. It sounds like one of the notes is off. What's this? It looks like an old key. How are you this morning, Mrs. Danforth?
Just great. How did you sleep?
Very well. But I did have an odd dream, and I was awakened once by some bumps in the night. I checked the doors, and everything was fine. I love your witch hat and apron. It's really starting to feel like Halloween.
Why, thank you, Jane.
I found this music that looks like it was once Cassandra's. Its title is Diamonds and Roses.
Yes, it was one of her favorites. She loved to play the piano. I know you also play beautifully. Don't hesitate to play any time you'd like.
Thank you so much. I found this photo of a young man in uniform, and he is so handsome.
My. I haven't seen that photo in years.
Who is he?
He was my son, John, but we lost him during the war. It was a very difficult time. In fact, it was in the garden I received the telegram every mother fears most. The one that told me I had lost my son to the war.
I have always heard a parent's greatest fear is outliving their children, so I can imagine it must have been very traumatic for you.
If somebody doesn't know about it, it has always been simpler to say, If I had children, there would have been more choices. It makes things easier than having to revisit old wounds. It was, after all, a long time ago, but the loss never goes away. I am glad you found the photograph for me. He was so special.
I found this key under a string in the piano.
Is that why that note has been off all these years? I kept meaning to get the piano tuned, but after Cassandra left, no one played much, and we just never got around to it. That key looks familiar. I think it is the one that goes to Cassandra's trunk.
Do you happen to know where that trunk is?
Yes. In fact, Cassandra's trunk is at the foot of the bed in the guest room, where you're staying, Jane.
Before I do anything else, I would like to have a peek in Cassandra's trunk if you don't mind.
That would be fine, Jane. We haven't had that trunk open since Cassandra left. I kept thinking I would find the key, but never did.
Okay, I'll check out the trunk now and let you know what I find.
Hello, Jane.
Were you just writing something?
I'm still working on getting my list completed.
Are you certain? You seemed rather lost in thought. For just a second. No, never mind.
Oh, my. What is this?
What does it say?
This is so touching. It says, I am so sorry. I have always loved you. I love you still. Your sister, Cassandra.
I know it might seem hard to believe, but for just a moment when I entered the kitchen, I could have sworn I saw your sister Cassandra sitting where you are now.
That is odd. I really was lost in thought just now when you came in.
I thought it was just my imagination, as I had been looking through Cassandra's trunk and had seen an old photo of her.
Was there anything of particular interest in that old trunk?
No, just the photo, a piece of broken red tile, and some keepsakes. Nothing very interesting.
You know, I think that is the same tile we had in the fountain. The fountain was so colorful when it was new, but it has faded. Now, when I go out and sit in the garden, I can barely make out any of the original pattern. I remember when I could sit in the garden and imagine all sorts of wonderful things as the water glittered above the bright tiles in the fountain.
It's odd you should mention that, as I also found a sketch of that fountain in the chest.
Yes, Cassandra actually helped design the fountain when we first put it in. In fact, she made a beautiful color drawing of the pattern in the fountain.
Do you have any idea where that might be?
I'm not sure where it is now, but we used to have it in a frame in the living room. It was quite striking.
Well, I'd better get busy. We have lots to do. What's this? This must be the painting Cassandra did. It really feels as though Cassandra is trying to tell us something. It's too difficult to see. I should drain the water.
How is everything going, Jane?
I found Cassandra's painting, and you're right. It's quite striking. It was still in the frame behind the painting next to the hutch.
That is great to hear.
It does seem as though Cassandra is trying to tell us something.
I am so glad you said that. I have the same feeling, but I was afraid to say anything.
I'm going to go out to the garden and take a look around now.
I think that is an excellent idea.
Talk to you soon. This could be useful. This is really faded. If I could just color the tiles, I'm sure there's a clue here somewhere. This is still too damp to color. I'm not sure where I should start coloring. Ah, that way is north. So that is how the fountain is facing in the painting.
Have you found anything?
Yes, I found a hose in the garden, and using an old pump that was in Cassandra's chest, I removed the murky water from the fountain. The pattern is terribly faded, and I was hoping you had something I could use to color some of the tiles.
I'm not sure if they would work, but I have these crayons if you would like to try them.
That's perfect. I'll give it a try right now. What could Cassandra be trying to tell us? I know what the answer is. I'm going to get it, and when I show it to Mrs. Danforth, she will too.
What have you discovered, Jane?
I think I understand what Cassandra is trying to tell us. I don't think she took the Dyer diamonds with her when she eloped. In fact, I think they are still right here.
I can't see how that could be. Everyone has looked for those for years.
The answer is actually right here in Cassandra's favorite song.
I don't think I understand.
Here, just read the title of the song.
Diamonds and Roses. Yes, that was her favorite.
Now do you remember the fountain and the broken red tile I found in her trunk?
Yes.
When I colored the tiles in the fountain, it came to me. she had Jake, your gardener, break out the tiles in the red rose and hid the necklace in the fountain and then replace the tiles.
Well, that does sound plausible, but I would hate to tear out the fountain if we were wrong.
All we have to do is remove the red tiles and concrete under them, and we should know if the diamonds are there.
I know the name of a good handyman we can get to come out and do that. I will give him a call and see if he can come first thing in the morning.
That sounds like it's coming from the garden. The Grand Hotel. I wonder if we'll have time. It was the Grim Reaper again. He has broken out the corner of the fountain and escaped with the diamonds.
Those are a family heirloom that I would truly hate to lose.
He dropped this matchbook. I bet he's staying at the Grand Hotel.
I'll call a taxi. They're always very prompt.
Where to, ma'am?
To the Grand Hotel and step on it. We haven't a second to lose.
I'll have you there in a flash.
That's him, I'm sure of it, and he's running for the hotel. If we don't stop him, we'll never find him in that costume party.
Whoa!
You're Kenny, the gardener's little brother.
My name's not Kenny. It's Ken now.
I know you stole the diamond necklace, Kenny.
I knew the diamond necklace was stashed in the garden. I heard my brother and your sister plotting to stash it in the garden, under the red flowers by the fountain. I never guessed they meant in the fountain. I've looked there several times over the years, but never found it. When I found out you were moving, I knew it was now or never.
I don't really want to see you go to jail, Kenny. So if you give the diamond necklace back now, we can just forget about this.
Okay, you win. Here it is.
This has turned out to be the most exciting Halloween ever.
Yes, and recovering the diamonds gives me so many options.
It would have been a real tragedy to have lost such a wonderful family heirloom.
The diamonds are certainly a family treasure, but the truly special part of this Halloween is that I feel as though I have reconciled with my sister. The argument we had on my wedding day has haunted me my entire life. You can't imagine how many times I wanted to tell her how sorry I was that we had quarreled. Now all that seems behind me, and it is almost as though I am starting a new life. Bye! Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween to you too! Bye! I wonder who that is. He seems rather tall for a trick-or-treater.
Excuse me, are you Mrs. Danforth?
Why, yes, I am.
Do you recognize me? It's been a very long time.
John?
Mom?
Dear Nixie, my visit with Mrs. Danforth resulted in the most amazing Halloween ever, even though I did end up missing my train home. From the moment I arrived, I kept having this eerie feeling that someone was trying to tell me something. The more I helped Mrs. Danforth prepare for the estate sale, the stronger the perception became. I will have to write you a detailed account of all that happened and Mrs. Danforth's amazing story. But for spooky Halloweens, this one has to be tops on my list. I am almost certain that the ghost of Mrs. Danforth's sister, Cassandra, helped us solve the mystery of where the long-lost Dyer diamonds had been hidden. Not only that, but Mrs. Danforth was reunited with her son John, who she thought had been lost during the war. It turns out that John was injured in France and had lost his memory. He was captured by the enemy, who took his papers and uniform, so when he escaped a few weeks later and was picked up by our boys, no one could figure out who he was. During his recovery in England, he fell in love with his nurse and they married soon after the war ended. John went on to become a doctor and has a thriving practice. His wife is quite charming, and so are his 6 children. It was only a few weeks ago that John regained his memory, and they decided to come back to the Dyer mansion and find his family. Mrs. Danforth was so thrilled to have her son back, and it seems as though the entire family had always been together. John and his wife have decided to move back to the Dyer mansion with Mrs. Danforth. I can't think of anything more exciting than to have all the children bringing happiness to the mansion and to Mrs. Danforth. I'll write more soon. Love, Jane.